You're listening to the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by Referral Mortgages and Blue Panda Realty, with your hosts, Paul Stevenson, David Warren, and Greg Campbell. Let's see what's going on in the world of real estate in our nation's capital.
Oh, there we are.
Here we are. We're back in the building. It's the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.
There's the pause again.
There it is.
Yeah. All right.
We're back. My name is Paul Stevenson. I'm here with Greg Campbell, and I'm here with David Warren. And we do have a guest today, gentlemen, which I'm very excited to bring him in a little while. Quick shout out to our sponsor, North Brew Coffee. Head over to northbrew.ca. Use the promo code podcast. Get 20% off your coffee orders indefinitely. Forever.
Yeah. Use that. I just picked up a fresh batch from those guys.
Now, was it the Panda coffee?
You know what? I wanted to try some other stuff and support. So I got some teas, got some other coffees. Yeah.
You got tea? Share the tea.
Got some teas. I don't have it with me here, but I got
some tea on the Ottawa real estate market.
Got some Irish breakfast tea and I think it was a nighttime one. I can't remember. Anyways. So
anyone listening for the first time, please subscribe so you can listen to us rant about various things. Subscribe, like, share, the usual. Greg Campbell, you are a partner over at Blue Panda. I should let everyone know that. And David Warren is an owner and a mortgage agent at Referral Mortgages, as am I. And gentlemen, how was the weekend? How are we doing today?
I need you to start that off this time, Paul. You tell us how your weekend was.
Yeah. My weekend was excellent. Did a little road tour down to Toronto, hockey tournament in Mississauga. Tough loss in the semis, good quality teams down there. But funny story, as I was driving, so we're doing the Ontario Mortgage Academy, started that recently. We're kind of involved as facilitators and so on. One of the ladies that was in the first group, she told me, I said, I'm heading down to Toronto this weekend. She's like, you'll probably see my signs, like kind of saying it jokingly in passing. I was like, like kind of laughing, like, what are the odds, where Toronto's, 6 million people and how many side roads? I'm driving to a friend of mine Saturday morning. He lives in Lafroy, just bought a new place down there, really nice, near Simcoe Lake. And I'm driving down this, like, I think it was called like Rural Route 3 or something, like some complete side road, farmland, like nobody around, no houses. And what do I see? I drive by this sign and it has her name, her phone number, like need a mortgage, bad credit, and her contact information. So I took a picture of it, thought it was hilarious. And I sent it to her this morning and she was dying. So small world,
That's cool.
That's hysterical.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's crazy when that stuff happens. What are the, like, let's say she's got 5 signs, even 500 signs, like the odds of me seeing one are so slim.
It was manifesting it.
It was manifesting it. Yeah. I wish I had the photo. I should have sent it to Stephen to post it, but in the post-production, we'll do that. How about you guys? How was the Thanksgiving?
I was pretty chill, actually. I spent a lot of time with the family. Had a couple showings. Other than that, open house. I had one of my colleagues, Andre, did that for me over the weekend. But I spent some time with the kids. Went out for a nice hike yesterday, which was amazing, just to get outside in the cooler weather for a couple of hours. But overall, productive on a different level, but good times for sure. David?
Good. I actually went to an event Saturday night, which was, first time, odd feeling, but a wine pairing, about 80 people, charity event supporting Bill Marconi. So that was, it was really good. It was the first time going to an event in 2 years. So
wow,
it was and typically I'm, this time of year, I'm at one to 2 a week. And so it was nice to get out and try some new wines.
All right.
Socializing.
Cheers to that, Dave.
Yes,
Cheers
sir.
to wine. Cheers to that.
Yeah.
I did actually, funny for anyone who's been following the show for 5 years. Vito, I saw him this weekend.
Wow.
He's in Toronto now.
He's alive.
Matt Craig, he's alive. Shout out to Vito. He's now in Toronto representing a hip hop artist. He's a manager for a hip hop artist.
R&B artist.
R&B. Correct. R&B Plaza. Check out Plaza if you're on Spotify.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And for those of you who don't know, Vito was originally worked with Referral Mortgages. He was one of the first guys.
And he came on he was a guest of ours a few times.
Yeah, when we started the original podcast with a different format. But he was actually, I think, the first guy on when I switched to this kind of style.
Yeah.
Before we kind of just took a break. Anyways, cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah. So speaking of guests, Greg.
Yeah, speaking of guests today. Speaking of guests, we got a big guest today. I'm super excited about this because it comes up a lot in our business. And we had a question on my personal page actually that kind of made it happen. Erin Waldecker, she says she's like, I'd like to know the differences in what goes on in Quebec versus Ontario. And I was like, Erin, that's an amazing question. I'm going to get my boy Francis Desjardins from the Via Capitale in Gatineau. He is with us now.
Good morning.
Francis, how are you? Welcome. Thank you for coming on the show.
Inviting me.
Welcome,
Our pleasure.
Francis.
What's that?
I said, welcome, Francis.
Oh, couple like Mike a little cut out there for a second. Anyways, we're good. Okay, man. So listen, let's just get right into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how long your background, how long you've been in the business.
Realtor for about 6 years, I think. 6 years licensed. Work in real estate all my life, though, managing buildings and whatnot with friends. And I've been a realtor since. It's pretty good. I like it. It's different. What else is there to know about me? Well, we only work, so there's only work to talk about. Right?
Okay.
All I do is real estate.
I got to give you a big shout out because you've been super helpful to my clients over the last year. And I think we built quite a good relationship together through a boss. Actually, that's how it came, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So I'm very appreciative for everything you've done for me with my help in Gatineau. I'm going to ask a few general questions that I know everyone's going to be very anxious to hear. So what is the current market like in Gatineau right now?
It's actually very good. I know Ottawa, you see a lot of above asking. We kind of have it the similar way here. Maybe on the lower side, it's not as much as Ontario, but it's still something new for Gatineau, right? Because 2 years ago, before COVID, we never had above asking, or not much, to be honest. And now it's every house is at least almost. So it's been kind of busy, occupied. We have less and less listing, more buyers. So it's tough. It's tough for buyers. It's good for sellers. If you're a seller, that's an amazing thing.
Yeah. So similar to over here, but at a lower price point. And I remember you blew my mind when we first connected at the beginning of the year. I think it was in February or March. And you told me that you did 20 transactions or something like that. And all of them were from Ontario at that time. Yeah, so how many, overall, for the year to date, what's it look like for you? How many Ontario buyers versus Quebec buyers?
Well, let's say last year I was at 67% Ontario, and this year I'm at 83%.
Wow. Crazy. So still even 67% last year.
Yeah.
Wow.
I get a lot of referrals from Ontario, but just like right now, the reason why I have more is because a lot of people are getting kicked out of Ontario's market, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are the general comments like when people come to you, with saying that they've been kicked out of the market here? They just can't buy what they would like, and they come to Quebec. Like, is it like, are they upset? Do they buy in a different way? Is it more aggressive? Like they just want to find a home, or do they actually take their time to try to work it in the right way? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think it's a case by case. I have both, to be honest with you. I try to make them take their time to a certain point. I don't want to rush them, first showing, first offer, that's it. But I do want them to see what's on the market. I send them information about areas. Do you have kids? No kids? There's so many variables here. But again, they're initially upset, obviously, because they wanted to live in Ontario. They had their plan in mind. And then all of a sudden price jumps and they can't purchase there. So they kind of have no choice in a certain, unless they lower their expectation, right? But if they want the same thing, they gotta come here. But then when I start explaining the difference, they don't seem as upset as they were in the beginning, because there is a lot of differences between Ontario and Quebec, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was my next question. What can you explain some of the main differences so that people can understand that a bit?
I think what people don't know, or at least the majority of my clients, they're kind of surprised. There's two things actually. In Ontario, you pay land transfer tax at the end when you sell. Well, here in Quebec, it's a welcome tax when you purchase. So it's exactly the opposite way around.
Sounds so nice.
Welcome tax. Welcome.
Come join us in home ownership.
And what's what would be do you know the difference in cost of the welcome tax versus the land transfer tax? Or is it similar?
I wouldn't be able to tell you. The way it's calculated, it's based on different amount, right? Like for instance, I don't have the exact numbers. Let's just say for the sake of the example here, 0 to 50K, it's 0.5% of the price. And then 50 to 250 is 1%. And then 250 above, it's 1.5. We do have exception for 500K and more, but it's around those lines.
Okay. So it's pretty similar, right, boys?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And what do you, maybe, some of the other differences aside from the land transfer welcome tax, what would you say, big differences between, bang for the buck of what you're getting in Gatineau or Aylmer or surrounding areas in comparison to an Ontario? Because really a lot of them, Aylmer, you're right across the bridge from Westboro, for instance. Westboro, your average price point is probably $1 million, Greg. Million, 1, 2.
Yeah.
And you're 5 minutes across the bridge at Aylmer, you're 5 minutes from that. Like what would your average detached and semi-detached be, or town in those areas?
You mean in terms of price, of like other different?
Yeah, like average price point, would you say for a detached, across the bridge in Aylmer or in Gatineau, for, a detached, a town, like what, because I'm saying in Westboro, right across the bridge, you're dealing with an average price point of 1.2 million, probably $1 million, 1.2. You're 5 minutes away across the bridge. What would the average price point be?
Yeah, in Aylmer.
In
In Aylmer.
Aylmer, I'll stick to the houses, because we do have like condos and plex, which is but the average price, like let's say the 12 last month, is around 259K.
Wow.
9,000. But let's face it, there's from the lowest to the highest, right? Let's say if you want something what the average person would like, like turnkey, you move ready. If it's not too old, it's kind of renovated, up to date. You're looking at between 450, 500. If you're looking to do some more renovations and whatnot, definitely go lower.
That's crazy. Like 500,000 seems like nothing right now.
But again, 2 years ago, those same house, 275, never above 300.
For sure. It's relative for sure. But it just seems, that's crazy, man.
And with all the increase in traffic of people from Ontario buying in Quebec, what's we've been seeing crazy value, price points jumping, in some areas, 30%, 20%. I think the average across Ottawa was probably in the 17, 20% range. Have they been jumping that quickly in Gatineau as well?
It's the same here. Here. Actually, Gatineau's market kind of follows Ottawa's market in some ways. So we do have let's say last trimester, 30 something percent.
Right.
Yeah, something 36%. So no, it's very good. Well, I mean, it depends where. Like in Aylmer specifically, 24%, very close from 30.
Right.
So they follow in terms of percentage. They follow Ottawa a lot. It's just the prices always stick down, right?
And for investors, how is it? If somebody's looking to maybe buy a rental property or multiplex in Gatineau, what are the rents like? Are they keeping up with prices, or are they able to, or the rents that are being generated able to support the prices that are that investment properties are going for?
Unfortunately,
underwater.
Here in Quebec, when you have a lease every year, you can increase your lease, your rent by a specific amount from the government. You have to look online. There's like a calculation you have to do, and then you can only raise the rent for that specific amount. So the price, they jump so quick that the rent following in many cases. It also depends. I mean, if your place is empty and you're renting like today, you'll be okay because you'll be able to, adjust the price of your rent according to the market. And then when you sell, your price is more, it's better towards like compared with the rent. But I see a lot of places, the ratios are insane, 17, 18. When I crunch the numbers, some of them, they just don't end up having anything at the end of the month. So it's very different. So you have to, it's more on the long term now than on the short term, I would say.
Yeah.
And it's raising even more. It's even more crazy than the house. Like there's more people buying investment property than people buying houses almost.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, we're seeing that a little bit in Ottawa too. Like, I mean, there's so many rentals available right now and the prices are ridiculous.
Yeah.
What was that, Paul? You're going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, like, outside of, like, obviously you would imagine that just across the bridge, the Island Park, kind of near the golf course in Elmer and so on, those places I would expect to be pretty hot. But where are developers? Like, where's kind of the building areas right now in Gatineau and Elmer, and where do you see kind of the next big wave of people moving to? Because I know even going out to Chelsea, they're building all new subdivisions there. And I know those are even going for 450, 500,000. So what's kind of the next area that you see kind of within, a 15-minute drive to Ottawa that is being developed currently?
I think there's many places that are being developed right now. There's a few talk. I mean, I'm not going to talk too much about it, but there's a zonage that's been changed recently. So a lot of places will have more potential in the near future. So I think we're going to see some news coming in terms of development in the next, I don't know, a year, 2 year top. But obviously once the city is saturated, right, they want to go outside the city. A lot of people are talking about Buckingham being kind of the next place, the city going towards that. I'm not really sure about where it's going to go, to be honest with you. It seems like every time someone says something, it's like on the opposite side. And like, you never know. It depends at that time, where's the opportunity, right?
If they built a bridge instead of that ferry in Cumberland, do you that would completely change the game?
Yeah. Are you talking about the bridge they've been talking to build before I was born?
Yeah. I didn't even know there was talk of it. I just mean in general, like that's clearly a restricting factor.
I think there's something signed with that company. I can't remember that.
From the 70s.
It'll never happen. Like I think there was an agreement between the government and that company that they were like, you can never build a bridge here. We're going to have this ferry forever. It's wild. And that thing just runs.
It does.
Constantly.
Yeah. Never stops. And not cheap too.
No. But you're right. Like that's the perfect place. Like that's a game changer. But
imagine Petrie Island, little bridge over at Petrie Island. That would basically create Elmer, but on the east end.
For sure. That'd be an amazing.
Let's do it. We're getting into bridge development. That's it. The Tourette Bridge.
Quit. Okay. I got a couple other questions here for you, man. How do sales differ? So in terms of like conditions, procedure, mortgages, mortgages are the same, but in terms of acquiring it. But I know that the financing conditions and inspections, or at least financing, runs a little bit different there. It's like, is it mandatory that you get the financing condition?
Yeah, I have some clients that come and see me. They're like, "Oh, the only thing is, I have to have a mortgage approval condition." But I'm like, everyone has it, so you're not like competing against anything here. Like everyone has a mortgage approval condition. We need an approval, like a final approval letter for this. Final. There's no other way around, unless you pay cash. But I mean, not everyone has $500,000 laying there.
And the timeline is what, 2 weeks?
Approximately 14 days. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Sometimes even longer. Like in the summer, it was so crazy. We had like 21, 22 days sometimes.
Yeah, because they couldn't keep up with the action, the activity.
The banks.
Yeah.
The banks turnaround times were so slow. So like on the mortgage side for Quebec deals, it's something where in Ontario, you can waive your condition of financing without a specific letter from the bank. People can go in unconditional, like leaving out a condition of financing just based on whether they feel like it or not, or whether they've gotten pre-approved or not, and that's it. On the Quebec side, as Francis mentioned, everyone has the condition of financing, unless you can show cash in bank or a secured line of credit that has available credit. So during that conditional period, not only do we have to get an approval, which we can typically get within a matter of 24 to 48 hours, but the bank has to sign off on every condition. So you have to have proof of down payment in your account. They need a copy of that void check. They need your letter of employment, your taxes, your pay stub, everything that you would need to satisfy conditions. Even if you're not closing for 4 months out, you have to have the down payment in your account now. And they need to sign off on it all. Once they've signed off on absolutely everything, they then issue a final letter that says everything has been signed off on and you are firm on your financing. And that's what's provided to the realtor in order to waive that condition of financing. On the Ontario side, like we can wait until 15 days before closing for somebody to continue saving their down payment and then show down payment, things like that. So on the Quebec side, you have to have every single thing lined up.
So that's good, I think.
Safer.
In terms of being responsible, in terms of responsibility, Quebec wins for sure.
Yeah. But another thing you should know about that, though, if let's say your moving date is in, 8 months from now, right? You're approved today. Some people actually do that. They go and they, buy stuff like, oh my God, let's get furniture. Let's get like a TV couch, all that stuff. We put it on a credit that we don't start paying until we move in. So everything is ready. And then a few days before moving, the bank rechecks and they don't pass for mortgage anymore.
Yeah,
right.
They have debts all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
That's something you got to be careful for. Don't go buy anything before you move in.
And we warn people about that. I mean, on the show all the time, like just making the foolish purchase right before you close. Like, yeah, new house. I'm going to go get that new truck.
I get it all the time.
Denied.
People asking all the time, or surprise. Oh, by the way, I now have, I just got a new car. Mine was dead. I had to get it. The payments are $800 a month. What? You couldn't have gone for that like $2,000, like 95 Civic to get you through to a closing, or like you had to get that. You couldn't take the bus for, 2 weeks. Like,
yeah. That's crazy, man.
The house.
Yeah. No,
you can't have a brand new house with an old car in front of it. You got to have a brand new car in front of the new house, right?
You guys put the fear. You guys put the fear of God in me so much about purchases before the house that like I bought this desk a week before we moved in, and I was like, shit, I hope this desk doesn't screw it for us.
Good. I'm glad you were sweating.
That's good though, man. Fear is good when it comes to this shit. This is big money people are spending and investing. I was reading something today talking about how we're still, way over our capacity for debt in Canada, way beyond, and especially in mortgages right now because of the increase. It's wild.
Slightly $100 a month will change your budget to a lot. Yeah.
No, I agree. It's I think there's something to be said, and that's a whole other topic, but differences between consumer debt and mortgage debt, and the interest rates being charged and what's being regulated really and what isn't. But it's that the consumer debt is certainly where people get saddled, and then it rolls into on the mortgage side, and where we always talk about, not only getting pre-approved, but, set out that roadmap well in advance, looking at where your debt is, because that consumer debt is what really will drag you down on qualifying. And then also, making dumb purchases right before closing, because people don't think that the bank will check your credit a couple of days before closing. And it does happen, especially on the Quebec side, it sounds like.
Yeah, it happened to me a few times. We had to be a bit more creative. It was fun.
Oh man. And I guess so, in terms of starting the process, with someone like you, it's the same as over here, just a conversation and figure out the ins and outs and the structure of how it works in Quebec, and then just go for it. Right.
it's a different world. So it's important to talk about it before you just jump in, because mistakes are easily made when you just jump into a decision, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, there's a number of, on Quebec, what people don't really think about is, differences in taxes, like, personal and also property taxes, because it's not just lumped all into one, right? There's municipal and school tax. There's two components to your taxes, things like that.
Funny you mentioned it. That's one of the first thing I tell my clients: talk to your accountant.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then they get a surprise, right? They work in Ontario, they live in Quebec, they pay both sides of tax, and they get a huge surprise at the end of the year. You have also the opposite way around. Someone works in Quebec, lives in Ontario, wants to move into Quebec, thinks he's going to pay the exact same thing, and guess what? He has a whole travel of money saved up. You can just leave and go, and it's like surprise money right there. So it's important to talk to your accountant before you make the move, because we can talk about houses, how much it's going to cost you, the tax, all that stuff, but tax related, you have to talk to your accountant. That's important. Mm-hmm. Baby bonus are different as well.
Which are?
Like when you have kids, you get government, so you get more money on the Quebec side. Mm-hmm. All that. It depends on how much you make a year, obviously.
Cheaper daycare too, I believe.
Cheaper daycare.
The old $10 a day daycare.
Mm-hmm. So you got children, come over here, I'll help you.
Yeah, I know a few people that did that.
That's same as me. A friend with three kids. He was looking between Ottawa and Quebec, and he seriously started looking at places in Quebec because he's like, what, for what I'm paying in daycare, this alone, $10 a day for daycare makes up for any tax issue with three kids. So
it's such a unique situation though, to have two, neighboring provinces or, municipalities, I guess, that have completely different, like even the language on the signs, completely different. I mean, obviously they're both, in Quebec, obviously they don't have to have the English side, I believe. But to have two municipalities so close together, you can literally walk from one to the other, but totally different rules, different taxes, different prices. Like there can't be too many places like that internationally that have such a variance from, a 5-minute walk to another.
Yeah.
Right. Unless you're talking different countries.
Yeah, I agree.
It's pretty unique. And I think there's a lot of opportunities there still. Like you said, Francis, like, I mean, I'm in the west end of Ottawa, kind of, Crystal Beach area. And I look across the water and I just still see all trees. Like there's so much opportunity on that side of the pond to develop, and to get those kind of opportunities with the land that's there. And that's why I was asking about, kind of the next neighborhoods that are going to be hot on the Quebec side, because I think that's kind of what people want to know. Like I said, we go out to Chelsea, which is a nice drive, but to see the development there has been astonishing over the last, 2-3 years. And I think there's still a lot of green space in Quebec. I mean, people think Quebec right now, it's usually cottages. You're going to Val-de-Mont or, La Pêche, or, you're kind of going to these places from Ottawa that are really like cottage country, right? But I think people are starting to shift their mentality now to, well, maybe we can actually live there if it's only a 5-10 minute drive. But all these things that we're talking about, the tax and all that, I think people in Ontario overthink it. Like they think it's going to be a lot more of a barrier than it is. And I think having conversations with yourself would be a good starting point to just understand, or even like you said, talk to your accountant and understand how, like what the impacts are, because it shouldn't be a deal breaker to look across the water, right? Or across the bridge. And I think for a lot of people now, it's really that, no, we're not even going to consider Quebec because of all the red tape or the perception that it's going to be a lot more expensive or what have you.
Yeah, especially Elmer. Elmer is, I think it's actually mainly English now. So many from Ontario coming here. Obviously, most of them are bilingual, but still, you always have that one or two clients who are like, I only speak English. Is that an issue? I'm like, it depends where you go. Obviously, if you go like deep Gatineau where it's extremely French, not that it's going to be an issue, but there's going to be a language barrier for sure. As opposed to Elmer, I speak English most of my time.
Right.
Yeah. So
I think there's way more potential, and like there's going to be a lot more people moving over there.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
And as Ottawa's prices keep going up as well, right? There's going to be that disparity between the two provinces and price points that, like we talked about, average price point across the bridge at 500,000, 5 minutes away, probably 1.2 on the average for ones that are, mildly renovated, not even fully done. You get fully done, you're in the 4 million range.
And you see people moving out to like Limoges and Russell because of the prices in Ottawa. Or you could go 10 minutes across the bridge and have, homes probably double the size for the same price.
Almost. It's almost double. Actually, it's almost double. I see some listing on Ottawa. It's almost double the price. Again, it's the asking price, so you never know about the sold price.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing. I have clients, they call me, they're like, I want to go see that house. It's like $299, let's say. I'm like, okay, what's we talk about budget, pre-approval. He's like, I'm pre-approved $300K. I'm like, can't go there. It's gonna sold. Like, yeah, but there's another house that's sold and the asking price was $275. I'm like, fair enough. It sold for $350. So the asking price versus the sold price, completely different. You have to think about that before.
Yeah.
Have you been finding that has your market been balancing out more so lately? Like in Ottawa, our market has been balancing out more listings. It's not as many multiple offers, things like that. Are you seeing the same on your side?
Yes and no. It's been more balancing because of the time of the year. But we don't see more listing. Listing keeps dropping and dropping and dropping, and we have more and more buyers. So it's definitely a seller's market, and it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere towards a buyer's market. But on the other hand, the sellers, well, it's not a balanced work market because like, okay, I'll give you an example. Last week, I made 2 clients, 2 offers, same price, different houses. One was 70K above, we lost. The other one, 10K below, we won. It's very similar houses, very, very similar. We got more attention than the other.
Yeah.
I look at them both, they're practically identical.
Yeah. It's funny, man. It happens here too.
Yeah.
It's so strange. And then the sellers get confused. They're like, why? And it's like, I don't know.
I got an offer refused, 25K above asking price. It was refused because he thought he could get more. Happens. You never know. It's all about expectation.
Yep.
They want to have the market that we had this summer. It's just not the same. Winter's coming. Like after September, back to school, a lot of people are putting on hold the purchase because of the school. It's a different market, completely different for sure.
For sure.
I mean, it boils down to everything we talk about every week. If you're interested in buying, have a conversation with your realtor, find out what's going on in the market. Don't read headlines or don't rely on news from a month ago or even 6 weeks ago, because everything does change so quickly. And just keep those conversation lines open. And Greg, I know you've said it before, people that were shopping months ago that were buyers got frustrated with the market, stopped looking, sitting on the sidelines. These are the times. And even if you are on the sidelines, still continue to have those conversations or keep the dialogue open, because the market changes so rapidly in all areas. It's not just Ottawa. It's obviously over in Gatineau as well. As it changes so quickly. So kind of keep those lines of communication open.
Now's the time. Buy the rumor, sell the news,
Exactly. And if you look at the statistic, you still have a lot of space to price to go up. You still have a lot of space. People are like thinking it's crazy how fast it's going up. It has to come down. It has to come down. It won't, at least not for now.
We've been dealing with that for 3 years in Ottawa. Everyone's just waiting for it to come down still. Eventually it'll dip.
We've been waiting for 4 years. They're still waiting.
It's like that.
But I think in Gatineau, even more so, like you said, prices are half or less than half of what they are in Ottawa, in that same region right across the bridge. And those buyers are looking in those areas and then moving. They can't find something, so they're moving across the bridge 5 minutes away. They're already expecting to pay, $1 million, $750,000, $800,000, $900,000. Going across the bridge, $450,000 and $500,000 is steel. In their head, they're already thinking like, I'm going to be paying $900,000. So there's, that kind of that mental side. Also, there's room to grow, room to grow financially, because they're they can qualify at that 900 or $1 million mark, but they're also going into a market where it's 450 or 500, where to them where they're already setting such a lofty expectation of price point that's a steal. So
buy one get one free. Buy your primary home, get a investment property
rental
for free in Quebec.
Yeah. Just toss it in.
Hey, Greg, pre-approved for 900 in Ottawa. Just go to Quebec and you get the old buy one get one free.
Yeah, exactly. Get your investment property and
that's your new marketing, Francis.
Yeah.
Come to Quebec. The BOGO event.
Teach you how to get the BOGO sale.
BOGO Quebec. Oh man.
All right.
That's awesome.
Well, that was great, Francis. Thanks for getting the mood boost here. You can hang around for that. But thanks a lot for coming on, man. They really appreciated that. I know the listeners and viewers are really gonna enjoy this episode for sure.
Thank you so much.
So end of each show, Francis, we do, I'm not sure if you're a listener yourself, but we do some mood boosts just to get everyone fired up for the week. So I got 4 today, 4 mood boosts. Number 1, here we go. That baseball player was such a bad sport. He stole third base and then just went home. Big jerk. Number 2. What do you call a lazy baby kangaroo? A pouch potato. Pouch potato. Dude. Number 3. I gave my date a bottle of tonic water, swept her off her feet.
That's a Canadian joke.
It is. Sorry to our U.S. listeners. And number 4, last but not least, did you hear about the bed bugs who fell in love? They're getting married in the spring.
Yes.
Not bad.
Thanks,
Those
Paul. Thanks again.
Made up for last week.
Curated right before the show started.
Made up for last week.
Yeah, definitely. Let's Francis, why don't you just tell everybody where they can find you and how to get in touch?
Well, they can find me obviously online. They write my name and there's my number right there. They can talk to you first, know which market is best. Or they can call me. I guess I'm not sure how the show works, but
we'll put your info in the liner notes for sure.
Awesome. Thank you. Email, text, call, doesn't matter. We do it all.
Yeah. He's quick, everyone. This guy's good.
Fortunately, I have my phone stick to my hand.
Yeah. All right.
That's awesome. Well, thank you everybody for listening. As always, we will be releasing this episode Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. You probably know that because you're listening to it already. And every week, Tuesday, 10 a.m. We record Mondays. We keep it fresh, keep it honest, keep it real. It's the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast. We will see you next week. Shout out once again to our sponsor, North Brew. Go to northbrew.ca. Use the promo code podcast. You get 20% off your coffee orders. And make sure to subscribe, like, share.
Do it all.
That's it. Do it. Do it all.
All right.
And, we'll see you next week.
Have a good week, gentlemen.
Francis.
Thank you. Take care.
The Ottawa Real Estate Podcast is brought to you by Referral Mortgages, Blue Panda Realty, and Stephen Hopkins Video. Thanks for tuning in, and please remember to like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe. We'd love to hear from you.